One of the amazing things about being able to DIY your own kitchen space is that you get to bring your visions to life. So rather than buying from a big box store, I can now personalize this space exactly how we dream it to be. So building our dream kitchen under $5,000. So if you're new to our channel, you want to check out this series and subscribe to our channel. We're building our very own kitchen from scratch, cabinets and everything, and we are spending less than $5,000 to bring this to life. So today we're going to do about a $60 DIY that's going to bring this island that we're creating to a whole new level. You're gonna wanna stay tuned and watch to the very end because we're going to make this very farmhouse style gooseneck faucet, apron sink, marble countertops. That's gonna look like nothing compared to the herringbone we're gonna do on the front. Let's get started working.
How come your ideas always need more space?
And never have enough space.
No, just move the island. Everyone was asking in the comments, where's the plumbing going?
The plumbing will be brought up from the basement.
So we're gonna drill it through here.
Once we get this actually put into the space that it's going to be in the kitchen here, all of the plumbing will come up from the basement and be rerouted. We have electrical and plumbing to do in this room, and the reason we didn't do it first, which I get a lot of people commented that that would make sense, but we've been working in this area, so having plumbing coming up from the floor right now wouldn't have given us the space to work, and we don't have a shop yet.
Well, this room was never designed to be a kitchen, so we actually don't know the layout that we want. So we're gonna move this around until we actually find out where it needs to go, and then we'll permanently drill the holes, and they'll be nice and clean. One drill, one tap through the floor.
One tap through the floor. And this island here is not the last of the cabinetry that's going to be made in this space, so we still need the rest of this side of the room here for our workspace. Like tables.
Do you have enough room?
I do now, yeah. I've been waiting for this part of the build.
I think it'll transform the island. It'll just give it so much character.
The supplies to create this look that we're doing on the front here is something that would easily be something you could add to a renter-friendly island if you have one, because you'd be able to install it and be able to remove it. You can do it on an existing island that you already have. And like I said, cost is approximately $60 for this large size that we're doing. So if you had a smaller one, it would be even less than that.
Right. Sawdust just came out. Our YouTube family keeps saying, make sure you collect all the sawdust and
put it in the wood stove.
We've been picking it all up, putting it into all these little things that you guys keep telling us. Put it in your toilet paper roll and throw it in there. Great fire starter. We love all the tips.
So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to use a piece of 1/4" MDF for the backing for what I'm going to put on the island here to create our pattern on top. But it is 48 inches tall by the length is 8 feet. So I can just subtract what we don't want so that it's actually the same height as underneath here of the lip of our island countertop right to the floor. So I'm gonna rip that right now. And because when you buy something that's 8 feet, it's not necessarily 8 feet, it's actually 8 feet and 1/4. I need to take off 1/4 inch on the end so that it'll fit perfectly on our 8 foot underneath here. And then we can start building that herringbone.
Hey, I found my heart again. You were standing there, you bravely let me in. I could wait a million years or more until you came knocking at my door. It's hard to be this real.
We have the framework for where the herringbone is going to go inside. These need to get sanded and then obviously glued on where they're going to go so that they're perfectly squared up. But I wanted to make sure that all my measurements were right. So it's going to have 4 separate front parts here, and then in between all of these are going to be the herringbone angles. So we have lots of sanding and cutting to do. Okay, so the next step to creating the herringbone is to stain the framework first before we actually put in the herringbone pattern. The reason for that is because the herringbone pattern is going to be 1/4 inch shallower than the actual framework, so we can create that dimension on it. But what I want to do now is, because I have everything really sanded, I'm going to dry wipe it all off, make sure there's no dust, And then I'm going to apply the stain just using a scrap piece of t-shirt here. If you want to use a foam brush or something, you can do that as well. So I'm going to use one to apply the stain and then one to rub off all the stain as much as I possibly can. I did buy some dish rubber gloves to be able to wear to do this. Cannot find them in any of the renovation stuff, so we're going to put some plastic bags on my hands, try to keep that stain off. And while I'm staining, I wanted to tell you about a really funny story. So the color of stain that I'm using is Early American. I went to 5 different stores looking for Early American. So I'm going to the store and I'm like literally going store to store trying to find Colonial American, because I had looked at home and I had seen that the name was Colonial American, which looks like it's written in English. Could not find it anywhere. And I knew that I had bought this stain before and that I loved the color of it. Well, oh my gosh, I guess I had just had a lot of late nights working on the kitchen. Realized eventually that it was actually the French side that I was reading. No wonder I couldn't find the stain color, but that the color is actually called Early American in English. So the stain color I'm using is the closest we could find to matching sort of some of the deeper tones in our flooring and the gorgeous colors that are just natural on the wood beams here in the kitchen. I think it's going to be just as close as we possibly can get it without it being too matchy-matchy.
It's the same old story being told inside my head. I'm too shy to straighten up my bones and be a man. I gotta tear this wall apart to let you in. My friends say the time's running out, so take the chance. Make a move, 'cause the store won't stay open till the end. Won't you tear my world apart?
Part of doing home renovations, not everything goes as planned. So after doing a couple hours of work here and getting everything organized to do this herringbone design that's going to go on the front of the island, I'm not happy with the way that the wood looks once the stain is on. So the wood looks great and the grain is lovely and it looks nice. There are these lines that I guess the wood planer or whatever they use when they actually process the wood and send it to the lumber yard. It looks like there's these like rivets that go all the way down. Once I applied the stain, you could see them a lot. And I sanded all of them. If you look, you can see that there's these like checkerboard lines that go across the wood this way. And so you can see that it has like nice knots and grain, but that this is the direction that the grain goes, but these little notches in the wood here just look really sloppy, and it isn't entirely the look that I'm going for. I don't really want like super rustic, rough wood. I want it to be as smooth as I can. Plan B, I raided the art studio and found a whole bunch of a higher grade pine board here. I'm gonna have to rip them all. I have another small pile against the wall over here, so we probably have a stack about this tall. Don't know if it's gonna be enough to do across the whole piece here. Hopefully it will be, and we don't have to go anywhere tomorrow and get any more, but I'm willing to restart this to make it right. We tested the stain on it, so you can see it's been just planed differently, so those side lines are not there, you can just see the grain once it's stained. So I'm gonna fire all of these through and rip them to make them into the 1x3s, the same that I was using, basically the same size as this, but I'll be able to get, I'm gonna use the table saw, I'll be able to get 2 on a board, and then try to come up with as many pieces as I can so that we can restart this framing part and then start the herringbone. I think it'll be worth the extra work to do it, I'm gonna say the right way, because this is gonna drive us crazy if we don't do it the right way. The good, the bad, and the ugly?
Yeah. Unfortunate, but fortunate that you caught yourself before you went any further.
Yeah, and I think I didn't really notice it so much as I kind of like went like across as I was in the moment of staining it with bags on my hands and a rag, and then I looked at it, and then I went upstairs and took a break for a few minutes and came back down and looked at it, and I was like, we want this to be the dream kitchen, and I can use these still for something else. In fact, I even have an idea in mind, so they're not going to go to waste. I'm going to rip all those, put in the extra time, and start this portion over.
There's a new day that will come again tomorrow. tomorrow. There's a new day to wash away the pain. There's a new day to take away your sorrow. And the old ways get washed out by the rain. Darling, you've got to keep holding on through the night, 'cause I promise you this: if you try to get some sleep, if you give up the fight, if only just for a bit, there's a new day to leave behind your troubles. There's a new day, and it will set you free. There's a new day to get you through your struggles. I will always think of you and me. Darling, you've got to keep holding on through the night, 'cause I promise you this.
Oh my gosh, we are so sawdusty. Goodness me.
We've had so many comments, people saying, why haven't you moved your washer and dryer into the room that it's going to go in?
Oh yeah.
Our hookups are still here in the kitchen room,
Yeah.
right behind where the saw is right now.
And we
And
need a washer and
We
dryer.
still, like, we have boys and 4 dogs and ourselves.
And
Ourselves are the
Elisha.
biggest problems and me. And so to unhook this and put it in there right now when we're not in that room yet,
Yeah.
just creates more mess and more work for us. And this is the best way to do this.
Well, the plumbing for this and the plumbing for that, I'm gonna do all at once down in the basement. There's no point of doing it right now, moving it, because I'm gonna move it when we go in there and do it.
8 of that same size, and then we're gonna set these little pieces aside because we will use those when we're doing the herringbone spot.
I've been acting like a wild man, sleeping like a child. You're so luminous and vibrant. I'm always in bloom for you. Always in bloom. Always in bloom for you. So many times I've stranded, a castaway on unknown shore, although a stranger in this continent, I'm always in bloom for you. Always in bloom, always in bloom for you. An infatuated light. Although it
We worked till about 3 in the morning, trying to work from that setback with the wood earlier today. It was a really long day, and we decided to call it quits, and tomorrow is a new day. So stay tuned for tomorrow's episode where we work on the herringbone and get this island finished up to reveal in our kitchen.